Hello, welcome to Gaijin Stories in Japan. I'm Ethan, and
This is Chris here.
so today we're going to talk about how to travel and what transportations you should take, and kind of some useful phrases that you should know if you are going to be traveling within Japan domestically, because you sometimes might need to communicate to the staff, if you're traveling, right?
Yeah, exactly. You cannot just use sign language all the time.
Yeah. So, of course, we got airplanes. That's the first one. That's probably the easiest to do in Japan. It's most straightforward, and probably most of the staff speaks English to some degree.
Generally, I find it's okay though.
Yeah, generally, you don't need to worry about it. They'll probably just speak English to you at first anyways.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But of course, the next one will be the more common one, which it's kind of famous across Japan tourism in general already. It's basically the bullet train, right? Otherwise known as the Shinkansen. So in terms of cost, of course, you have the planes, the air travel. The next, in terms of costly travel, would be the bullet trains, but equally, it will be convenient, it will be fast, and to some degree, the Japan railway staff, they do speak some English. Disclaimer on this, if you're heading to some rural area of Japan, don't expect any English there. But generally for big stations, yes.
We can also add on to that, the differences, because Shinkansen or bullet train and air travel are very similarly priced, and typically air travel is cheaper. If you want to travel across the country, bullet train is probably the most expensive way you can do that.
Sure, at least we are both speaking from a resident's point of view, but let's say you happen to be in Japan on a temporary short-term visit pass, then you will naturally have access to the what we call the JR pass. And basically this pass allows you to take unlimited trains across Japan, or at least not across Japan, across the area that your JR pass is based on, right?
So as a tourist, I highly recommend getting the JR pass when you come to Japan, because I think there's 7, 14, and maybe 21 days sets you can buy. It's unlimited trains across the entire country. And the advantage to the bullet train versus a plane is a plane, you have to land in an airport, and they're usually far from the city, and it takes time to get off the plane and into the city. Where the bullet train is just, you're in the city right when you arrive.
Just to add on to what Ethan was saying, for example, if you're heading by plane to, let's say, Nagasaki airport is quite a fair distance from Nagasaki city itself. Whereas if you had taken the bullet train, it will go straight to the center of Nagasaki city, right? I mean, that's just one example, but there are quite a few examples of the main cities being at least half an hour to 1 hour car driving. I'm not even talking about bus. So half an hour to 1 hour bus car ride driving to the city, right? The airport and city distance.
Yeah, it can make such a big difference.
Then another thing is, given that, don't forget that if you're taking the plane, you also need to do a check-in, and you have to do a security check, right? The bullet train, not that it's dangerous, it's just that the bullet train, you can just go straight in. You can, whatever is the time written there, you can just wait there and go straight in. No need for checks whatsoever. So you're it's a very efficient way of moving around, right? And one more thing, if I may add, would be the comfort level. What do you think about planes in general, in terms of comfort?
Unless you're in first class, it's not comfortable at all, I think. I just get annoyed when I'm traveling by plane. I have to do it if I want to, because I don't have unlimited money. But it's shorter in time for a lot of things in terms of distance, but then you still have to deal with the airport, so sometimes it's not always faster.
Yes, I agree completely. So, just to highlight, typically you might say, hey, if you have more money, just take a nicer carrier, right? For example, let's say we are comparing the Jetstar, which is a budget carrier, versus the main carrier JAL, right? Japan Airlines. I have taken flights on Japan Airlines before, whereby the ticket shows Japan Airline, but the plane is a code share, meaning that you're sharing with some so-called lower class airline, and the plane is still crappy. So you're kind of paying more. You're paying more, but you're still sitting in the same cramped seats. Whereas the bullet train, come, Ethan, tell us about the experience on Nagasaki Shinkansen.
So we went on the brand new bullet train. So it's so beautiful. It's so comfortable. You can sit back and relax, and you can move your legs around. You're not just tied up. You can actually relax, lean back. There's Wi-Fi, there's outlets. You can walk around if you want. It's such a smooth ride.
Okay, yeah, to add on to what Ethan's saying, typically when you're getting a bullet train pass, I mean you're getting on the bullet train, you're able to choose the limit, the what you call that, shite seki, basically meaning the reserve seat, or the GU seki, which is the well non-reserve
Unreserved.
or the free seats.
Yep.
Yeah, then anybody can sit on it. Usually even the GU seki, the free seats, they are kind of comfortable. But you want another level. You want to bring your experience to another level. You can get the Shiteiseki with the reserve seats because they are
Yeah.
bigger. If you look at the alignment, the arrangement of the seats, you can tell immediately. I think GU is like 2, 3, right, in a row.
Mm.
Whereas
Yeah.
the reserve seats is like 2, 2. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so can you imagine for people who are flying, especially on long haul flights, the Shiteiseki might the GU seki might be kind of like premium economy. Whereas the Shiteiseki, the reserved ones, will be like business class. So by default, if you take the Shinkansen, the bullet train, you are flying business class by default, right?
Basically, it's really such a nice experience. And for the YouTube listeners, I'll put up a picture of what it looks like to see the difference. But it's so high quality just compared to other modes of transportation. It's the most comfortable for sure. To give an example, Fukuoka is at the southern point of Japan. So Fukuoka to Tokyo is by plane, it's about 2 hours, I would say.
Yep, exactly.
2 hours. And by Shinkansen, if you take the fast Shinkansen, there's kind of different ages of Shinkansen. So there's like an older one and a newer one. I believe it's about 6 hours for the fast one from Fukuoka to Tokyo.
5.5. 5.5.
5.5? Okay, so
still
it's 5.5. But I timed it last time when I was in Tokyo. It took me from Narita. It took me about it was like 1 hour.
You actually bothered to time yourself.
Well, I just kind of wanted to see like how much time am I wasting in the airport. So it was like I got off the plane. I had some luggage, so I had to wait for my luggage too. So I got off the plane at, I don't know, 1:30. No, yeah, 1:30. And I didn't get out of the airport until 2. And then it took me another hour and 20 minutes to get into the city because I was in this is from Narita.
So in addition to the flight time itself, you have to add all this unnecessary commuting time, right?
And this is a domestic plane. So the speed of taking out the luggage is a lot faster than I think an international flight.
Yes.
It's pretty quick.
Yes.
So that's about, and then that doesn't even count. That's not even factoring me going to the airport initially anyways from Fukuoka.
Exactly, right. Exactly. We're kind of near. We're kind of near,
but you still have to check in. So I'd say at least 30 to 45 minutes at the Fukuoka airport.
Yeah. Okay.
From your house to the airport and stuff. Right.
Just a disclaimer there, because I'm in Singapore right now, right? So my previous experience coming back home was it took me 2 hours. Just a heads up.
Oh, for like the international terminal?
Yeah. Because I'm sure you know this, right? The international terminal, especially in Fukuoka, it's like not connected to the subway. So you kind of you have to take a separate bus, and I think they were manpower strapped. So the queue, right, it was circling around the terminal. Can you imagine?
Okay, yeah, that's definitely a problem.
Yeah. So sure, the actual traveling time between Fukuoka and Tokyo might be short, sure, but because of all these unnecessary things that happen before and after, it actually becomes like 4+ hours at least.
Yeah, so I'd say like the total travel time is probably about 5 hours ish from going to Fukuoka city to inside Tokyo. It's probably about 5 hours in total, where the new Shinkansen is almost like just a little bit more, and you arrive in the middle of the city. And it's a nicer experience because you're just sitting on a nice seat with Wi-Fi the whole time.
And you can even run out of the train and buy a drink if you need to.
Yeah, because some stops are maybe like 5 or 10 minutes in the big stations.
Okay, not for the ultra fast train. But for the next tier, the next tier, yes, you can do that because I did that before.
The plane looks faster on paper, but it's not. Just the experience you have in the airport, it's such a pain.
Your individual your individual experience may vary. So we're just sharing what we have experienced before. And how about the next level, which is the local trains? Or shall I even include the Tokyu?
I think we should include the Tokyu, high speed, or sometimes they're called Sonic. I think it depends on the region.
The Limited Express.
Yeah, Limited Express. So we have Limited Express and the local trains. Those are the trains you'll use to get around more not the central areas. You'll notice that
Yeah.
the Shinkansen only goes to the central stations, the main areas, and that's not the whole country. So the limited express are the higher speed ones. They're not that fast compared to the Shinkansen. The bullet train is it's amazing. Put in perspective, the town Kumamoto, going from
Uh-huh.
Fukuoka City to Kumamoto is 45
Ah,
minutes by high-speed train, but it's like a
exactly.
2.5 hour drive by car is like 2.5 hours.
That long? Oh, I've not tried before.
Yeah, it's that long.
So, but not that's not to put down, the limited express trains. They are still kind of higher class, and you can tell. So when you're at the train station for tourists out there, when you're in the train station and you see like this really interesting design train, or like it has a theme. For example, the steam locomotives, right? Those are okay. I shouldn't lump the SLs in. Okay, but basically it's like the Sonic, the
Yeah.
Kamome, these are some names of the limited express trains. They look different and kind of cool sometimes.
There's some nice ones, especially if you like trains. There's some, special trains you can take that are just limited, or sightseeing trains. They have these sightseeing trains where you can even there's like a roof you can go into and just look around the view.
Yeah. So the common ones, since we're talking about sightseeing trains, the most common one is, I won't say it's common. The most popular one is one of the last remaining night trains in Japan. Have you ever taken it before? It's called the Sunrise Izumo.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So just for people out there, when you're heading to Japan, and it's extremely hard to get a booking for that. But let's say you are able to, okay? Sunrise Izumo, you can take from Tokyo at night, and it's an overnight train, meaning it's a sleeper train. You will get either a bunk, okay, it's kind of like a bunk. You can get a bunk without a bed, or you can pay more and get either a single room or a deluxe room. If you're getting the rooms, you actually get to shower on the train.
Oh,
It's a luxurious experience. So Ethan, please try this with your girlfriend.
Wow, that is a nice. Yeah, I'll definitely have to.
And the best thing about it, because especially if you take the nice rooms, if you get the second floor bunks, you can see the night sky in the train as you're moving. Yeah. And in the morning, when you're having breakfast, there's an observation car, right? So you're having breakfast, you can enjoy the scenery as you're eating breakfast.
Where's the destination?
So it's Izumo. Izumo is in Shimane. It's like this religious site in Japan on the northeastern side. It's kind of far. The entire journey takes about 14 or 15 hours, if I don't remember wrongly.
Wow.
Go for it. I highly recommend it. I have not been successful at booking before, even though I lived there in Tokyo for 3 years, right? I've never been successful.
Wow.
It's too popular.
Yeah. Japan has a lot of that.
So that's one of the last one or two night trains in Japan. That's why hence the popularity, right? The demand.
Yeah.
I mean, the supply cannot keep up the demand. So that's the interesting one.
But also there's a lot of train enthusiasts in Japan too. Like a lot of people who just trains are their hobbies. And so you get those people, they love trains so much that they're going to try to book this train. Their whole point isn't to go to the destination. It's just ride the train. That's a lot of like a big market for these special types of trains is those like train enthusiasts.
So the specific Japanese word will then be the densha otaku, right? Otaku means the enthusiasts or fanatics or maniacs, right? The interesting trivia here would be the train otaku, you are split into three. There's the toritetsu, the photographers, the noritetsu, which is the people who like to ride on the train. And the last one,
the model trains,
could be, as in the collectors, maybe the collectors.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big market. Yeah, basically, we have talked about the limited express, and how about the local trains? Have you ever used this special ticket called Seishun Juhachi Kipu?
I've thought about it, but I haven't actually ridden it. I've taken the local train a lot, but it's very slow.
Okay. Would you like to guess how many times I've used that ticket?
Have you used it that much?
I used it at least 6 times.
So for tourists, this ticket, you don't even need to buy it. You just buy the JR
You
pass.
don't need it.
But for residents, you cannot buy the JR pass. You cannot.
Most passes, yes, you can.
Maybe there's
Except
sometimes a limited pass, but...
Yeah, because remember, we managed to get the limited one, right? But that was because of pandemic.
Yeah, so because of the pandemic, we were able to get a limited one, but typically you won't be able to buy it unless under special circumstances. The JR pass is only valid for people who have a tourist visa.
And they actually check, because I was with my friend when we bought the thing. So they actually check his passport to verify that the stamp is there. So for residents, it's kind of hard to, bluff your way through.
So that's what this Seishin What is it? What's
Seishun
the ticket?
Juhachi. So Seishun means youth,
Ah,
right? And then 18 means Juhachi means 18, right? So
yeah.
Seishun Juhachi, youth 18.
This ticket is not the fastest trains. It's only local trains. It's like 3 days, right?
Five. Okay,
Is it five?
specifically, you pay for this ticket. It is valid for the
Yeah.
entire period of usage. So typically it's like one season. Typically it's one season. So like
Okay.
winter or summer or something like that. And you can use it 5 times over the entire season. As in literally
Okay.
5 days. They will put a stamp. They will put a stamp when you go into the ticket gantry. And
Yeah.
for the entire day, you just need to show the ticket and it will be free entry. You can just show it and you can just get in and out. The issue will then be, as Ethan was mentioning, it's kind of slow. You can only take the local trains, or even if you're lucky, you can take the rapid trains. They are a little
Yeah.
bit faster, just a little bit, but you can't
Yeah.
take the Tokyo or the Shinkansen, right?
So where have you gone with this ticket?
Okay, so I was just about to thank you for that. I was the longest and the most torturous was from Chiba, which is where Narita Airport is, all the way to Hiroshima in one day, in one sitting. And that took me 16 and a half hours on the train. And I changed trains 13 times because no single local train will get you that far. You have to keep changing and changing. So a lot of planning is required to use this ticket as well. And I was a broken man when I finished the trip.
I bet. That's crazy.
I'm kind of older now. I can't do it anymore.
I have a friend who did take it from all the way from Beppu to Osaka.
And how long was that?
Definitely an all-day thing. Definitely an
At
all-day
least
thing.
8 hours, I think. At least 8 or 9 hours.
It's going to
minimum.
be similar to what you experienced. Maybe a little bit less. But so the local train, it stops at every single station,
Exactly.
which is why it's so slow.
Yeah. Okay, but the consolation. Shall I end the consolation? So sure, it's freaking slow compared to the JR pass, but for the noritetsu, so people who enjoy taking trains, the journey is the fun part, right?
Yeah.
So the good thing is because you're going through the local lines, right? Oftentimes the scenery that you can get to see, it is unique and it's really how to say, it's a very shall I say like unique to Japan. Like the scenery that you see is definitely unique to Japan. And if you take it right, you will see a lot of things that you will never see, if you're taking only the bullet trains. So that's
Yeah.
the highlight of the ticket.
It's through the mountains and stuff, which, bullet trains go through have like tunnels, so you will never see that scenery.
Yeah, and because the speed, right? The local trains are
Yeah.
slow, so you can kind of look at the scenery as you're passing, as you're
Yeah.
going by. But if you're alone, it's tough to travel the whole day.
Put it in perspective, when I first came to university in Japan, I was going to go from Beppu. So this actually brings on to the next transportation, actually. So in Japan, you kind of have ferries as another means of transportation, getting across the islands, because, Japan's full of islands. It is an island country. So I was going to Beppu, which is in Kyushu, and I was taking the train, and I was taking the ferry to Shikoku, which is the island across from Kyushu, which was about 3 hours. And then I was going to take the train to go visit my host family. But at the time, I didn't really know what train. I was just like, okay, just take the train going this way. And they wanted me to take the limited express train. I ended up on the local train. So they're like, oh, you should be here by now. And I had been on the train for like 2 hours. And I wasn't even in the main city of the prefecture yet. And I'm like, oh, I'm not there yet. And they're like, ask, what train are you on? And I realized, oh, that's why it's taking so long, because I was taking the local train instead of the limited express train.
No, but then it's cheaper as well, right?
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper, but man, the time.
Okay, so for tourists, may I suggest that maybe don't take the local trains because unless you enjoy the experience, sure.
There's also specific places that you can only go with local trains.
So if you don't have a specific destination and you're strapped for time, you should probably take the limited express or the bullet trains, the Shinkansen, right? And the ferry part, how was the ferry itself?
So the ferry, this was a short ferry ride. It was about 3 hours. Ferry rides are typically long. They're not short.
Oh,
Going especially longer distance, because I'm going from one major island to another major island. It's not like a small island off the coast. That's why it's 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was really nice because you can kind of walk around. There's like a sitting room there. You can go buy lunch, or there's like a little gift shop. You can go to the deck and just look out overseas. So it was kind of nice just watching the view. I went alone, so it's kind of, I didn't really have anybody to enjoy it with. Kind of just by myself, watching the view. But I really like the ferry, though. It's very fun. You can just enjoy that awesome view. The views are amazing. Seeing the Japanese coastline, especially I went in the inland sea, so inside the main islands, and that view is amazing.
Yeah, I was just about to add on to that because part of the reason why I like taking ferries, even though they take forever, is because I enjoy just standing on the deck and looking out. Right, that's the
Right.
most amazing part of being on the ferry, right? But
Yeah.
again, since Ethan mentioned that there's a wide range of ferries available in Japan. The shortest one I've taken was the one in Kagoshima, all the way to the south of Japan. It's the ferry that's going to the volcano nearby. And it's
Yeah.
only 15 minutes. And I think that we mentioned that before. I think we mentioned it in the previous podcast. Yeah, link.
Yeah.
Hint. Click on the link to listen to the previous podcast. It was for so we were talking about like having to eat udon quickly, right? Remember? And so, no, of course, on the other spectrum, you will have the ferries that's like 24 hours. Yeah, that goes all the way to the southern islands of Japan.
I did take a ferry from Beppu to Osaka. That was an overnight ferry. It's a 12-hour ferry, so it leaves at 7, gets in Osaka at 7. You just have to sleep.
What level were you on, as in the ticket class?
The cheapest economy.
Well, so that means that you're in the dormitory, right?
It's this big open room, just futons.
I call it the dormitory, yeah.
It's called dormitory. Okay.
I mean,
I don't know how to describe it.
I've seen it before. Yeah. As in, I was also thinking about like the big bedrooms with a bunch of beds side by side. Those are that's one level higher actually. If you get a bed, it's one level higher. So we were talking about what kind of travel methods or transportation methods you have available in Japan when you're here as a tourist or even as a resident, right? So today we were covering the plane air travel, the bullet trains, which is the fastest train in Japan, and we also talked about the local trains as well as the ferries, right? This will be part 1, and we will talk a little bit more about other transportation methods as well as what phrases, right, to use.
So thank you guys for listening or watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, criticisms, let us know in the comments. And if you are on YouTube, hit that like button if you enjoyed our videos, and you can listen to us anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And thank you guys for watching. I'm Ethan.
This is Chris here.
And see you guys next time.
See ya.